So don't worry, obviously, today we're not going to be eating any dog. The dish today is something called ya, literally doggy duck pot. And what it is the traditional flavor profile in Cantonese cooking that would have been applied to dog, applied to duck instead. It's a really tasty dish. So if all you want is a straight up recipe, I totally get that. You can just jump to this point in the video. But because this is the internet, we did feel the need to say something absolutely 100% crystal clear at first. Asian Americans, being Americans, do not eat dog. Educated urban Chinese also do not eat dog. But the core truth is that it is absolutely a historical, traditional protein source in China. So it absolutely does exist here and there. And that's a truth that's proven to be a small gold mine for that kind of more slimy breed of influencer. So we wanted to have an honest conversation.
Because what can be eaten, what can't be eaten, these are often really fundamental questions that are studied extensively by anthropologists. Because, how do we learn cuisine? I mean, we learn it from our elders, our parents, our grandparents, our tribe. It's the result of an almost unfathomably long process of our ancestors throwing culinary ideas at the wall, desperately hoping that the calories stuck, and then passing down onto us what did. It's how we get this ridiculous diversity of global food. I mean, genius and often really highly specific ways of preparing certain ingredients. And I don't know, it's kind of trippy. It's how every single one of us got here. But just like how if you talk to a biologist, they'll tell you how there's often a lot of little accidents that happen inside of our genetic code, I think that there's also a lot of little random accidents that happen in our cultural culinary code as well. Basically, practices that exist because they might have been really useful to us at some time, or maybe they at least didn't really harm anything. For example, if you talk to a Chinese traditional medicine practitioner, they're likely to give you a highly developed post hoc rationalization on why drinking cold water is bad for you. Or, ditto with somebody keeping halal. Maybe they'll tell you that, of course, you can't eat pigs because, just look at them. Look how dirty they are. Or somebody from the British and American cultural tradition that obviously we can't eat dogs because they co-evolved with humans, they were a hunting buddy, or something along those lines. We're often really quite good at explaining our own behavior. But I think even if we took those historical rationalizations at face value, now I don't have a time machine, but I'm pretty sure that our current Anglophone behavior of doggy diapers and dropping way too much cash, village resources on doggy daycare, probably would have been viewed as almost as messed up as eating them. Because I think there's obviously been a shift. For much of human history, our big problems were not enough calories and infectious diseases. But in the modern day, those are kind of solved-ish problems. And a lot of our issues instead seem to stem from loss of tribe, loss of clan, basically a lack of human connection. And dogs, in their own way, I think, can help us fill that void. And then that's also buttressed by another reality of our modern world, which is that we're living in the shadow of 3 centuries of the twin cultural towers of first the global British Empire, followed by American economic and cultural hegemony. And so, I don't know, a lot of people around the world, they learned how to speak English. They learned to listen to rock and hip hop. They learned to eat McDonald's and KFC. So steadily, our British and American cultural norms and taboos became global norms and taboos. And whatever the conflicts among our political classes, that same process has obviously happened in China too. And I think probably for me, for you, Looking at those kinds of pictures of Shanghai, I think there's probably a comfort there, right? Like, when I think about most of my Chinese friends, they fit that kind of bill. The spread of our own culture, it often feels to us really quite natural. For example, one of my favorite cities in Southeast Asia is Vientiane, capital of Laos. Some really nice French food there, by the way. But if you look online, you'll often hear a lot of people saying how with the new fast train, Vientiane is getting totally ruined. It's becoming a Chinese colony. There's Chinese characters on the street everywhere. But like, drop yourself into Vientiane, look at the street. I mean, I guess the Chinese characters, they feel weird to us. They feel odd. They feel like an aberration. But it's like we don't even see all the English. For us, this kind of international educated class, it's just the air that we all seem to breathe. So young people, urban people in China these days, they basically do not eat dog. Like, ask an average 20-year-old educated Cantonese native of Guangzhou, and it would probably be about as abhorrent to them as it would be as if you asked it in Brooklyn. But not everybody in China is an educated 20-year-old Cantonese native of Guangzhou. And so the practice exists in China. It's a traditional protein. It would be a lie to say that it doesn't. But the consumers, they tend to lean older, they tend to lean less educated, and they tend to lean more rural. For better or worse, it's a dying tradition.
Now, I am an American, as maybe you can tell, and I also really love dogs, as maybe you can tell. But at the same time, I also really love cultural and culinary preservation, as also maybe you can tell. And so I think that's why I really love this dish, dawei, doggy goose pot, or again, today we're doing dawei ya, doggy duck pot, for ease of international replication. It's the flavors that would have been used for dog, but applied to duck or goose instead. It's a way that this culture, that this knowledge, it can be passed down without us having to confront or think too hard about the nature of meat or mortality or existence. So I'm going to hand it off to Dawei, Steph's dad, an old school Cantonese cook who's going to teach us this old school Cantonese dish. And then I'm going to jump in back at the end to teach you our adaptation, our 100% vegan doggy tofu pot. All right, dude.
嗱，咁咧狗仔鴨咁啊，首先就要有鴨要有鴨。呢度嘅鴨咧就係大概係2市斤，即係約莫1公斤咁樣嘅份量啦。買翻嚟斬件，洗乾淨，咁啊擎水擎乾水，呢個就鴨啦啊。首先呢啲青蒜咁啊切到啦啊，切到。咁咧就薑咧就切粒。 又唔好太大，又唔好太細，滾刀法切。咁啊蒜都要好多下嘅。咁啊依個菜咧就喺19世紀中葉嘅時候啦，開始喺廣東珠三角一帶咧就都好多人做嘅，好多人做嚟食嘅。咁啊一直到20世紀嘅中葉，即係60年代、70年代都仲有，但係少咗好多啦。 好，薑同蒜撈埋，呢啲蒜葉切到炆到咁上下落嘅。好啦，而家咧就炮製呢啲果皮嘅，嗰啲果皮咧就先咧就要發水。咁啊切果皮之前咧，嗰塊白膜咧就刮一刮佢，就將呢啲果皮咧切好細嘅絲要。 就因為我喺年青嘅時候就係20世紀70年代，我都食過2次。咁啊，後來咧，我覺得好食咧，咁就同一個老江湖啊，我嗰時係青年啫，但係咧嗰個老江湖已經係老坑嚟㗎啦。佢咧就將呢個狗仔鴨嘅做法就詳細講咗俾我聽。啊，一隻果皮就夠㗎啦，切咗絲。好啦，咁而家咧俾腐乳1斤鴨肉就1磚腐乳，咁就2磚。 可以俾南乳嘅。南乳嘅翁量同夫乳個翁量就基本上係相同。柱侯醬咧就大概係俾一羹，即係啲咁嘅羹仔，一羹就夠噶啦，就唔使俾好多嘅，咁就 OK 噶啦，夠噶啦。咁啊，所有嘅料就已經備齊啦。好啦，做啦。首先第一步，將啲鴨咧烘乾佢，白鑊嚟烘到佢出油。嗱，開始啦，出水啦，兼有啲出油啦，烘到佢有啲焦焦地。好，得啦。咁咧佢下邊有油噶啦，已經出咗好多油噶啦。不過將佢嗰啲油咧留翻個鑊度，重新熱翻隻鑊，唔使好多。首先就攞薑蒜先，要攞嚟爆香佢。咁然之後咧落埋嗰幾粒生蒜頭，俾啲燒豆，就俾埋嗰啲腐乳，俾埋啲豬油醬落去，就得啦。好，等佢俾到大概過面，嗰啲豬油醬咧。撚嘅先，好啦，最關鍵嘅呢味嘢啦，落埋啲陳皮，咁啊睇睇啲水，最後俾埋嚿糖。而家咧就將佢轉過嚟呢個瓦煲度啦。咁啊，今日咧我就準備係做煲，即係做煲仔菜嘅，咁所以咧就轉到個瓦煲呢度燜好咗，喺食嘅時候咧。就淥啲生菜咁樣嚟食嘅，咁就即係好有味道啦。好，煲佢啦，慢慢煲啦。煲幾耐咧？咁就要睇隻鴨啦。嗰隻鴨嫩啲咧，咁就煲得時間短啲；如果隻鴨咪老啲嘅咧，就煲得時間要長啲。試試夠唔夠味先？因為咧原來冇落鹹味嘅，淨係得2磚腐乳嘅啫。咁而家咧就一定要試試味先，未夠，俾啲豉油添，1羹、2羹，俾1羹添，再俾半羹添，夠啦。再落埋啲蒜葉，再滾得佢5分鐘到，就可以開煲上台。好，咦嗱。舊菜啦，就係狗仔鴨啦，搞掂啦，知道未啊？狗仔鴨啊，識冇？喂，屌嗱醒嚟嘅，俾佢索啲汁添，嗱落啲生菜落去，淥咗咧就咁食嘅，係咁食，好味道。
So, again, the basic mix of our flavors today is going to be from 2 to 3 dried and aged tangerine peels, chunpi, fermented tofu, furu, and for this one I decided to go for a red fermented tofu for a bit of color, 20 grams of the darkest brown sugar that you can find, powdered would also be good, and 8 smashed garlic cloves. And just like dawei, we'll scrape the bitter white pith off of those chunpi peels and then slice them into thin strips. But unlike him, we'll be frying up all of our aromatics at first. So to a hot wok, drizzle in about a tablespoon of peanut oil and then go in with your garlic, 2 to 3 inches of smashed ginger, and the white bits from about 3 green garlic stems. And if green garlic isn't available to you, that's totally fine. Maybe just up the garlic by about 3 cloves. Fry those all over a medium flame until they're fragrant, or about 30 seconds. Then up the flame to high and swirl in a 1/4 cup of Shaoxing wine and toss in the sliced chunpi. Bring that up to a rapid boil and give it a quick 15 seconds or so to infuse. Then go in with 2 cups of water and your dark brown sugar. Bring that up to a rapid boil once again to let the sugar dissolve. Then transfer over to a pot and place that over a very low flame, covered, to let everything brew and the flavors come together for at least a half an hour. And then, as that's going, we'll get 450 grams of our tofu and slice it into sheets, each about 1 centimeter thick. Then, in a separate bowl, toss in a half teaspoon of salt and mix in a bit of hot boiled water from the kettle to let that salt dissolve. Then carefully lay all the tofu pieces in and submerge it all with more hot boiled water from the kettle. Cover and let that sit to brine for about 20 minutes. And after that time, just thoroughly drain the salt water from your tofus, and then with that, we can fry these all up. But real quick, before we do, in a bowl with 2 cubes of red fermented tofu plus a half tablespoon or so of its red liquid, toss in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and ladle in a bit of that aromatic liquid. Mix that super well, breaking down the fermented tofu and then set that aside. Then, to a hot wok, drizzle in 2.5 tablespoons of peanut oil and go in with the drained brine tofu. Let those fry over a medium-high flame for 5 to 8 minutes or until the bottom begins to get good and golden brown, periodically moving the wok around to cook evenly if you're working off of a round bottom like us, and then carefully flip those tofus. Then give it another minute or so on the other side just to firm it up a bit. Then toss in your aromatics liquid together with that bowl of the red fermented tofu. Keeping the flame at around medium or even medium-high, we do want this at a heavy simmer or even light boil to allow for a liquid to reduce. Cover with a breathable lid and let that boil for 20 minutes. Then, after that time, taste your sauce and season everything accordingly. We add another 1/4 teaspoon salt and MSG together with a sprinkle of white pepper powder. Allow to continue to reduce on high to your desired consistency. For us, this was another 2 minutes. Then mix in the green part from those 3 green garlics, or if you couldn't find that, just swap for a little cilantro. Then just serve that all up. We went with a clay pot as a serving vessel for the sake of good looking, but a normal bowl, more than fine. And then with that, you've got yourself a vegetarian doggy flavor pot.
Right, so the most traditional meat to go into this flavor profile, besides dog, there's actually goose, which is a more gamey tasting meat that has a stronger flavor. And when we were filming, Chris asked my dad, would a venison work, especially a wild hunted one, and he said that it will be great in this kind of flavor profile. So if you're a hunter, maybe explore this flavor profile and maybe some heritage turkey as well. And as for the vegetarian version, besides fried tofu, you can also put maybe just straight up tofu or tofu puffs or tofu skin, and it will also be really good. So right, check out the recipe in the description box. A big thank you for everyone that's supporting us on Patreon, and subscribe for more traditional Chinese cooking recipes. Okay. Duck. Dog treat.